Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a special election night edition of the Denver Bronco Roundup. Election night panel's a little different, starting with myself, Kenny K here, joining the guys, taking over for Keith tonight. Has the night off, out of town. Keith, hope you're having a good night, and hopefully we'll see you in the comments. But two of the four horsemen are here. I'll start with the Mile High Dutchie himself, Mr. Albert Knoppers. How you doing, Albert?
I'm doing good, even although it was a sad weekend, but I'm doing good because I know we will make it further than everybody's expecting. And even although it was a loss, I did see some positive things in the whole game against the Ravens. So I'm
That's great.
optimistic.
That's good. I like the optimism there, Albert. And hey, 5-4, nothing to be ashamed of in the first half of the season. So that being said, another one of the four horsemen, the Rocket Man himself, is here this evening. Trevor, how you doing on election night?
Doing well, Kenny. Again, we just came off that, big loss against the Ravens, obviously. But again, today was trade deadline day, so we'll go into that here a little bit in the show. But, big news around the NFL. Broncos didn't do anything today, but they did do something yesterday. But again, welcome everybody and happy election day. Hope everyone is having a great night.
Yeah, we got a couple of lows in, but I want to thank you, Albert, and Keith for letting me join you guys tonight and taking over the spot of Keith is not going to be easy, so I will do my best. And got some audience members starting to say hello. Mr. Ernie Mays, go Broncos country only. Go Bo Nix for 6. How you doing, Mr. Mays? Ravens are trash anyways, he throws in there. Our good friend Roy Osborne, hey, Horseman and the Posse, happy election day to all. Mr. Osborne, it's Kenny, not Kurt, LOL. But a lot of people get us mixed up, Keith included, so it's okay. And our good friend, everybody's good friend, Mr. Michael Von Keel. Good evening, Kenny, Albert, Trevor, and go Broncos with the blue and orange emojis and a wave from Michael. So, guys, you invited me on. I'm known as the stepfather. I'm on here quite often. For those who don't know, we have a show called the K&K Sports Show. We like to start our show off with a couple quick hitters that gets the audience involved, fast-paced answers, 15 to 20 seconds. I got 3 of them for you guys. I told Trevor, he said, yeah, let's do it. So I got 3 rapid-fire, quick-hitter questions for you guys. I'll start the first one with Trevor. Trade deadline today. No moves really made by the Broncos. What was one move you wanted the Broncos? What would have been one move you wanted the Broncos to make if you could have had somebody on this Bronco team?
For me, I think that there was nobody out there that they could have bought that I think would have made a big difference to this team right now. I think this is a team that's trying to still learn and to see what they got, not only with Bo Nix, but some of these young wide receivers, and just try to see what they have so that in the offseason they can turn around, and build the correct roster, the roster they want around Bo Nix. Again, they still have the Russell Wilson dead cap situation they're coming up with, this year. So the $53 million they have to, are having to take on for Russell Wilson's dead cap. So they're having to deal with that. I think they only have like $3 or $4 million in cap space right now. So they couldn't add a huge contract to the books right now. So I think for me, I would be Greg Dulcich. I think you could have flipped, Dulcich in a 6th-round pick, try to move up in the draft and get a 5th rounder. But again, I'm not overly surprised the Broncos were relatively quiet to trade deadline day.
And thank you, Michael, for announcing the Facebook stars. It will be hard for me to see. Trevor's going to get them to me if he can. But if we don't acknowledge it, chat, and you do send stars, just put it in the chat, and I'll make sure to get it out there. So we definitely appreciate that, Michael, and appreciate everything, all the support you give all the shows out there, Michael. So definitely. One guy I would have went for as a Giant fan, Isaiah Simmons. I talked to Trevor about this yesterday. A hybrid player, probably wouldn't have cost you much, maybe a 5th, 6th, maybe even a 7th-round pick. Giants would get off that contract. He could play linebacker and safety. And we all saw how, a lot of people said Key looked terrible on Sunday. So I thought you could have improved there. That would have been one small move I like to see. Before I go to Dutchie, Graham, producer over at our K&K Sports Show. Hey, Kenny, Dutchie, and Trevor. What's up, Graham? Hope you're doing well. Jeremy, what's up, fellas? Go Broncos. Jeremy Dressler, what's up, Jeremy? Good to see you. And Roy's not surprised at a lack of moves, Trevor and Dutchie. No sense bringing on one-year rentals. Dutchie, is there anybody you would have liked to see the Broncos acquire today?
Yeah, I would have liked to see another tight end that is more well-rounded tight end. But yeah, they didn't, and I think they're happy with what they have right now. And maybe they're just waiting off, because I think there will be another opportunity to get another player later in the season somehow, and after the season is over, and so we'll see. Yeah, tight end would be nice.
Yeah, next year you got money to spend in the offseason, and draft's going to be key as well. Michael's saying Sean Payton said Superman ain't walking through the door, and Graham's stopping in during the Avalanche's first admission. Keep us updated on that score there, Graham. All right, I got two more, guys, quick ones. Dutchie, I'll start this one with you. If the Broncos were to make the playoff this year, who has to step up on offense besides Bo Nix and Cortland Sutton?
I don't think that Bo Nix has to step up. I think Bo Nix is already going into the really great direction. What I think that needs to step up is some of the tight ends. They could do better. But what I think is stepping up is our head coach, Sean Payton. He needs to be better active with creating better plays and that getting everybody involved. Right now, it is pretty two-dimensional. It is either running or it is the throwing, but we don't have all three areas really well developed. And I think that's where the biggest development needs to come, and Sean Payton needs to step up in that part.
Okay, I like it. Graham gave us the update, 2-1 Avs. Miss Pearl saying hello. Morgan Trinkets, please check out Morgan Trinkets, tonight's sponsor. Pearl is a big supporter of us as well over at K&K, and we love when you're in the chat, Miss Pearl. Hope all's well. Graham's answering Javonte Williams and Estime Trevor. Roy saying hello to Pearl. Ernie wants the whole offense to step up, and Michael's going Javonte Williams. I'll ask it you in a different way, Trevor. I'll say one player. I'm going to go to tight end group has to step up if the Broncos want to make the playoffs. Give me one player that has to step up besides Nix and Sutton.
I would say it's got to be Javonte Williams. You know, I think you can make the argument for the whole running back room. This is a running back room that hasn't even yet had a 100-yard game yet. You know, you look at what Baltimore has with Derrick Henry. I mean, you hope that at some point in time you can put that around Bo Nix and he can have that. You know, these days of Bo Nix continuing to be the leading rusher of this team, those days need to slowly start fading away a little bit more so you have success. Keep Bo Nix healthy for the long haul. I think you guys have a running game going forward, and so where teams respect it, because, again, you can want to pass the Bo Nix all day, but teams are going to start adjusting to that, and they're not going to respect the running game if you can't get it going. So this team needs to get some sort of production from the running back room this year. Javonte Williams is on an expiring deal. I think if there's any point in time he needs to step up throughout his whole Bronco career, it needs to be now. He's not only for the Broncos' sake, but for his sake, so he can get another contract, whether it's in Denver or not.
My last quick hitter for the chat and you guys. Dutchie, scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. Confidence level, Broncos make the playoffs.
I would say 8. We're going to make the playoffs.
Okay. Trevor.
I'm going to go 7. That they'll make. I 1 out of 10, 7. 10 being the best, 7. I would say that right now. I think there's some ground to make up, some proven to do, but I think they can absolutely do it, and realistically, I should say.
Roy's going 5, and Graham's going 6. Michael's going 7. I'm on the lines of a 6, and it's not a bad 6. Bad 6. It's a good 6. You still got the Bengals. They might get hot. You know, you're ahead of them. The Jets, they got a weak schedule. I mean, a really weak schedule coming up. You guys have a hard schedule. You're a young team, so I would say 6. That's better than a 5. That's better than 50%. So I'm still confident that they're going to get there. But it's not a bad 6. And don't be disappointed. Yeah, be disappointed, but don't feel like it was a failure of a year if you don't. You guys are going in the right direction, big time, and nice chance to get to the playoffs as a surprise team in the AFC. Ernie's saying borderline 11. I love it, Ernie. But yeah, it was a little K&K style quick hitters. Thank you, Trevor, Dutchie, audience, for playing along. Check us out on Wednesdays. We do that. Kurt does his quick hitters with us and puts us on the spot. I kept it easy with you guys tonight, so I didn't give you too much of a choice. I let you guys off the hook easy. And then Graham saying it would suck if we had to let other teams control our destiny. So that's going to be topics going forward for sure on the Denver Bronco Roundup as the second half unwinds. But Trevor, I know you want to get into, it wasn't pretty. You faced a team that, I don't think many teams would have beaten on Sunday in the Ravens coming off that Browns loss. That was going to be a tough environment and place to play. We all know what the outcome was, but still want to do a recap on this game. So I'll start with you on your, quick recap, and then I'll come up with a couple questions for you guys after the recap.
Yeah, I mean, again, for me, it's just not a lot to say because we did say a lot of it on Sunday. So Dutch, you might have a little bit more than I would have to say about it. Again, I think that this is a learning experience for this team. They're very young. There was clearly a big difference between where Baltimore's at and where they're building their roster and where Denver's at. Baltimore's a Super Bowl contending team, a legit Super Bowl contending team. You've seen it with some of the moves they made at the trade deadline as well. That's how confident they are about their team. So I just think, again, it's one of those games where you move forward and you learn from it, and you have a tough opponent in Kansas City Chiefs that we seen play last night. Hopefully if you can go one-on-one on this road trip, I like this team's chances, and I think it helps take the pressure off you going forward. If you can go one-on-one and get, a win on the road, big win on the road, either Kansas City, obviously it's going to be Kansas City now because it's not going to be Baltimore, of course. So, no, I just think it's a learning experience for this football team. You've seen the difference, but I think everybody should be optimistic about the Broncos' future going forward and stay positive because, I think there's a lot there for this football team that has still yet to be proven. But that's what you like, a young, hungry football team that still has something to prove. I think there's something to be said about that, and I think Sean Payton really loves that about this football team as well.
I like it. And Dutchie, you want to add? You want to say some few things about the recap on Sunday as well?
I think if those first two play calls close to the end zone were called differently, we might have had a different game because two missed opportunities for scoring points, and then going towards Kansas City. You're going to have a really difficult game there because you're not playing 11 players, you're playing 18 players. Because right now the refs are all up and for the Chiefs. So that's going to be difficult. Graham said it would suck if we had to let other teams control destiny. In this case, the refs will control the destinies against the Chiefs. So
refs, sorry, Dutchie, go ahead, continue.
There's going to be a difficult game next game because, like I said, you're playing 18 players or how many refs there are.
Yeah, I mean the officiating in all of professional sports has seemed to go downhill in the years, and we've seen it in football. You see it in baseball all the time. It just I don't want to have robot umps or refs in the future, but maybe more call downs to the officiating crew. Hey, pick up that flag. You see it maybe once a game, but maybe that should be more, because I watched that game last night, Chiefs and Buccaneers, and in overtime, all of a sudden there's no flags being thrown. You're calling flags the whole game, and then they're letting false starts go in overtime.
Yep.
Why? Because we have to be off the air at a certain time. There's no more commercials being paid. I don't know. I don't know what the reason is, but that crew picked up the flags in overtime yesterday. But good point about the refs. I got a couple questions. Trevor, is there one guy offensively or defensively in this loss that you were proud of? You said, wow, terrible loss, but this guy played well.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I would say Bo Nix. I think he did enough. I mean, again, he missed that throw to Franklin and a wide open throw. He's got to start hitting those deep throws, something he can work on. But I think that he didn't get any help out there, in my opinion. I think for being, on the road against a tough opponent, I thought he did pretty well for being a rookie. Normally rookies, I think you would have had it, a more difficult game. Bo Nix stayed control in this game, I would say, for the most part. He gave this team a chance in the first half. For the most part. But I just think that, his teammates let him down. The offensive line was shaky at times. He had roughly no running game at all. And his wide receivers weren't great at catching the football either. There's the blame. We can go around with the blame game all day, but I think Bo Nix just stayed control enough in this game. Not a lot of positives when you lose 41-10, but I think Bo Nix, for what he did, he stayed poised, he stayed controlled for the most part of the game. Didn't lose. Didn't lose himself or anything like that. Stay within himself. I think for me, he would be one of the one positive bright spots, one of the few bright positives, bright spots from, the game on Sunday against the Ravens.
I like that. And you're going to learn a lot about your rookie quarterback because this was the first blowout of his young career.
Yeah.
And now you're going to Kansas City, undefeated Kansas City. I want to see more maturity. Keep the maturity going, Bo, because you've been proving me wrong. I was, hesitant on the draft pick. I've been hard on him. Training wheels are off. Bad loss. He played okay. I want to see him play very well against Mahomes. Albert, hello from Michelle Knoppers, your lovely wife, saying, hey, my dudes, evening, gents. Hello, Michelle. Hope you're doing well. And Roy saying, Bo Nix did all right. He made quite a few mistakes. However, I have seen improvement, and I agree with that comment Roy did. You want to go a different route, Dutchie, or you want to add to what Trevor said about Bo Nix?
I do totally agree with Trevor's statement. And Bo showed them all. One attempt, one catch, caught for a touchdown. And he is not even a wide receiver. So he showed everybody that catching is not that hard. It is just how focused are you on that ball? And he was focused, and he knew what was going on, and he made it happen. And even he was even under pressure. It was a contested catch, in my opinion, and he caught it. If he can do it, then the people specifically for it should be able to. So I think, Bo Nix. I think Bo Nix is improving every week. Does he still make mistakes? Yes, because he's still in a big learning curve. But every week we see improvement. The balls are getting closer and closer, and some of them are really in the breadbasket that are pretty difficult throws, but he makes them. And I'm very, very opportunistic to see where Bo Nix is going, because he is, to my opinion, he is our quarterback for the next 10, 15 years.
I definitely see. I can't disagree with you, Dutchie. And I'm going to say 7 to 10, just because of quarterback's lifespan. But wouldn't surprise me 15 years down the road, I might be in a wheelchair and gray hair, beard like Keith in 15 years. But I might be on this show in 15 years saying, Dutchie, 15-year veteran. You're right. 4 Super Bowls later. Maybe we're talking about him in the Elway and Peyton Manning category. So let's hope, Bronco fans. Let's hope.
Kenny, one name I want to mention, one more name that we haven't talked about enough, in my opinion. Another 100-yard game. I know that you can say, "Oh, well, it was garbage time, stats, whatever." Well, I don't care. He's still a 100-yard receiver for 2 weeks in a row. Mr. Cortland Sutton had over 100 yards, catching again on Sunday. I think there's something to be said about that, because again, you have the trade deadline today. The Broncos never made an attempt to, didn't seem like to ever trade Cortland Sutton. I think there's something to be said about Cortland Sutton and Bo Nix connection between those two, being that Cortland Sutton seems to be Bo Nix's number one wide receiver, and teams are going to have to adjust to that. So I think if there's another bright spot on offense other than Bo Nix, to me, it's Cortland Sutton right now, because you're starting to get production from him, maybe even better than you did with Russ last year. At times.
You nailed it. And I'm saying that he's a top 10 wide receiver in football. Okay, he's doing this without a number 2 wide receiver putting up any production. You know, he's getting 100-yard games. If he had a complimentary wide receiver, think of the numbers he put up. Not getting the he's getting everybody's number 1. He's making plays. He did it last year with Russ. He's doing it again this year. He doesn't get enough praise. And people should start praising him. You have a clear number 1 wide receiver. People say, "Oh, I want T. Higgins. I want Brandon Ayuk. I want this guy. I want that guy." You got the guy. Cortland Sutton. Get him a smaller wide receiver, slot wide receiver, the Broncos next year. I know, Trevor, you mentioned like a Chris Olave or somebody off the air. Next year, you look on and you have that smaller speed wide receiver, like a Cooper Kupp type, whether in the draft or free agency, you find that guy in the slot, and now you're building that offense around Bo Nix. Go get a tight end, and here we're talking about Broncos maybe contending not only in playoffs next year, but I'm going to say right now, first, on the stepfather saying it, contend for a Super Bowl next year.
Yeah, and those two really have a connection, because wasn't it Sutton who threw to Bo Nix?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got a few comments we'll catch up on here. Ernie was saying it's a confidence game for Bo Nix. We will be 6-5. Roy, Bo Nix, the leading wide receiver in the bunch. Ha ha ha. Ernie's also saying divisional game, 6-5. Okay, catching up on that. Roy was saying, yes, Sutton can't trust the other wide receivers. I agree with that. And Graham says, it's a question from Graham. Let's hit this one up. I'll go to you first, Trevor. You have the option to take a wide receiver, tight end, or running back in the first round of the 2024 draft. Where do you go? Do you mean 2025, Graham, next year? I'm thinking that's what you meant. We'll say 2025, next year's draft.
Oh, it depends on where the Broncos are picking and who's available. But yeah, I think you have to consider all of them. I'm not sure they're going to take a tight end too high, because tight ends in the first round, you just very rarely see that happen. I know we've seen that with Brock Bowers last year, but Brock Bowers, in my opinion, in this draft, I don't think there's a Brock Bowers in this draft per se. There's a lot of more depth in this class when it comes to tight ends. So maybe you see them, and the Broncos have a second round draft pick this year. Maybe you see them take a tight end in the second round or the third round. But if they stand pat, in the first round, say, middle pack in the first round, that's where they end up being. Wide receiver, running back. I wouldn't be opposed to that. I know there's that running back out of Boise State that I really like as well. Speedster, elite speed. Can't think of his name right now because I haven't got too deep into the draft.
Genti. I just looked it up because he took my guy. But questions for you guys. But I was going to mention him if you guys didn't mention him.
Yeah. No, so for me, like I know some people are against taking a running back high. I wouldn't if he's that elite of a talent. Well, again, we have so much more time till the draft comes about. We a lot more to determine. But I wouldn't be opposed to taking a wide receiver or running back high. Maybe tight end. I just think that you can probably find that later in the draft, just with the amount of depth that there are in this draft. But for sure, you need playmakers on this team. But first and foremost, you need to see what these other younger guys on this current Broncos roster can do. I think that's a big reason you're not seeing the Denver Broncos going after a guy like Mike Williams or any veteran wide receivers right now, because they need to see what they have right now before that you can, accurately decide what you need in the offseason to surround Bo Nix with.
Yeah, I like everything you said there. I would leave the tight end out because I don't think there's the Brock Bowers in the tight end. Dutchie, which way would you go? Would you take a wide receiver or running back next year if you're the Broncos, if you're up on the clock and you're picking for them?
Neither. Left tackle. I would go for left tackle because
I agree with the offensive line. But I think Graham was asking if you had to take a wide receiver, tight end, or running back, which way would you go?
I think you can get a pickup or a running back pretty in the second or third round. You can pick up a nice running back, but wide receiver would be more of an more, because you also have to think, are you going to have it for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? Running backs, if they have been 4 years in the league, most of the times they are worn out, unless you're Derrick Henry. But after 4 years, and you want to give them that much of money, no, then spend it on a wide receiver.
Yeah, you know what? Michael says running back as well. But Michael, McMillan, I think, is the last name of the wide receiver. If you can fill us in, I know you're a big Arizona Wildcats fan. He's a guy I'm targeting if I'm the Broncos. and that is my number one wide receiver out there. There's another guy out there in Missouri. He's a speedster, Luther Burden, but McMillan from the Arizona Wildcats, and Dutchy's losing his background as we speak.
Yeah, that's a disapproval for wide receivers and running backs in the first round of the draft.
Yeah, he doesn't like that left tackle pick.
This is life.
Let's catch up. There's Keith. Keith filling in. I'm filling in for Keith tonight. For those who don't know, Keith out of town. Keith, hope you're doing well. Hey, Broncos country. He wants to know if we're happy with the compensation for Browning, drafted in the 3rd and received the 6th. Thoughts, Trevor?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm, you're happy to get something out of him. Obviously, it's not, you didn't work out the way you thought and you were hoping when you took Baron Browning in the draft. That was George Payton's first draft in 2021. But yeah, I mean, you had to get something for him. I'd rather get something for him than nothing because he's probably going to walk, at the end of the year. Obviously, we need to mention Jonathan Cooper's name in this as well. He's got that big contract extension now. It was either going to be Jonathan Cooper, Baron Browning. The Broncos are going to have to decide between those two who they wanted to pay and who was going to move off of who they were going to move off of. And of course, with Jonathan Cooper and how he's played this year, it made sense to give him that contract extension. Seemed like to me over the weekend, actually in Baltimore, that's when Jonathan Cooper agreed to that contract extension with the Broncos, and that's why they were comfortable moving off of Baron Browning, getting a 6th-round draft pick back for him. But something's better than nothing. It didn't work out between the Broncos and Browning, ideally, but at least he's going to get another opportunity in Arizona, and the Broncos are getting something back for him.
Yeah, and Dutchy, you want to add anything to that, or me personally, somewhat respectfully disagree with you, Trevor. Not 100% disagree with you, but you're 5-4. You're contending for the playoffs. You're in the playoffs right now. Browning, depth piece. If you were to lose Cooper or Franklin Myers or Ellis to an injury, Browning can come in and fill in. And now you're just giving that up for a 6th-round pick when Keith was saying he was drafted in the 3rd. If I'm contending for the playoffs, contend for the playoffs or a 6th-round pick, I want to contend for the playoffs. And to me, I didn't like that, getting a 6th-round pick and not flipping that for a player today at the deadline, in my opinion. So just a little difference of opinions there. Dutchy, which way are you going? You agreeing with Trevor, me, or you got a totally different opinion on this whole thing?
No, I'm happy with a 6th-round pick, even although we paid a 3rd round for it, because he has not even seen half of all his games on the field.
Yeah,
and I think that is the biggest concern. How reliable is he? You cannot rely on him at all. He is the one who is injured the most. So, yeah, you got a 3rd-round pick, you paid for it, and you get a 6th round. Yeah, that is the reward because you're only on the field for less than half of the games, and I think that is the biggest concern with Browning.
Well, and you have to we have to keep in mind that Nick Bonito, the emergence of Nick Bonito, has also got to have a part in this, and that Broncos also took Jonah Ellis in the 3rd round this past draft, so they're opening up the door for more guys to get more playing time. I definitely think that this helps in Baron Browning. Again, he, like Dutchy, like you just said, he can't stay on the field and hasn't been nowhere near consistent as much as they want him to be. So I think it made sense to move off of him now, because if he gets hurt again, like he's had a pretty good history of doing so, you just lost out. You're not getting anything for him. He's probably walking. So then the Broncos needed more draft capital. Now they have 7 picks total going into the draft and the 2025 draft. So I think that they like what they have, in house right now. It was important, I think, to move off Browning. If you could get something for him, his value just wasn't quite there. But you needed to get something for him, so you just wasn't losing him for nothing.
Let me catch up on the comments real quick, and then we'll get to we're at the halfway point. Roy, back to the tackle pick that Dutchy wanted. The tackle class, Dutchy, he's saying, is not good. Very little to choose from. Michael with the name. I'm not going to butcher it, Michael. I'm going to say T. McMillan, but I don't want to butcher his name and say his first name wrong out of respect to him. And
can I give it a shot?
Go ahead, Dutchy. You give it a shot.
Titairoa.
That's probably how it's said.
Yeah.
I can't roll my tongue very well, so it would come out probably like Tet McMillan. So no, I'll call him T McMillan. Keith about the oh no Dutchie, the backdrop. And then a couple more. We got Roy saying, yeah, that's about the best we could get. No way we can get more out of him. I believe Miss Pearl saying hi. I was in and out with the corgis. Got to take the corgis out when they want to go out. They got to take them out. They are beautiful, by the way, Miss Pearl. I've seen them on your page. Phil saying, and I believe it's stars. I apologize, Phil, if I don't see them on my end, but thank you for sending. I believe you did send stars there.
Yep.
I just can't see the amount. Thank you. Good evening, Kurt. I've been called Kurt a couple times tonight. Kurt, Rockin' Man, and Dutchie coming in late, but was wondering if you haven't addressed it already. When is Beatty supposed to be back? Trevor, why don't you take that one?
I believe in 2 weeks. I believe. Let me see if I can pull it up, but I believe it's 2 weeks, and that's when he's able to be back. He won't be back this week in Kansas City. I know that for sure.
Okay, and then a couple more. Aloha from Patrick. So we got to get the aloha out there. Patrick always helps us and gives us, he's a big supporter and sends us coffee our way from Lion Coffee out there in Hawaii. If you haven't tried it, and there's Dutchie with it right now.
No, this is tea.
Oh, you're drinking the tea that they put that he sends, or and awesome stuff too. I've had the pineapple one. Which one is that, Dutchie?
The green one.
The green one. I know what you're talking about, but I just can't. Patrick, what's the green one? And Michael's saying hello, but we're at the halfway point, guys. So why don't I pass it off to Trevor to so we have our wonderful sponsor, Miss Pearl, and Morgan Trinkets. So take it away, Trevor.
Yes, let me pull it up quick. Okay, let me tell you about a little bit about our sponsor, Morgan Trinkets. With over 33 years experience, they are your headquarters for Southwest pottery and jewelry, as well as estate gold at wholesale prices. Started in 1990, once a nationwide company. Now they do shows exclusively in northern Colorado and southern Wyoming. All their gold is real gold, 10, 14, or 18 karat gold, and all their silver is sterling silver. How do you find Morgan Trinkets? On Facebook by searching Morgan Trinkets today. If you catch Morgan Trinkets at one of their shows, they take all major credit cards. On Facebook, they take PayPal, and all orders are shipped free over $50. Check out Morgan Trinkets. That's Morgan Trinkets on Facebook today. And I believe, real quickly, Ms. Pearl had some issues with her Morgan Trinkets website. So once we get that updated, we'll make sure to send out the right link for that so that you can go support Miss Pearl. But Miss Pearl, thank you, really appreciate it. And again, go support Morgan Trinkets. They have a lot of great stuff over there.
Yeah, and you can also reach out to us, guys, ladies and gentlemen. If you need any questions, reach out to us. If you can't get through to Morgan Trinkets, we'll help you get through to Miss Pearl and Morgan Trinkets. And thank you, Miss Pearl. Real Morgan Trinkets, she's saying, Trevor.
Oh, real Morgan Trinkets.
Yep. Michael's giving us some information on Albert O, a former tight end for the Broncos, released today from the Philadelphia Eagles. And Phil, I'm giving you a hard time. I give my friends a hard time, so you considered a friend, Phil. And he said, sorry, I meant Kenny, had Kurt on my mind. Well, Kurt should be. He's a Bronco fan. He should be on here, so you have every right to call me Kurt. But that being said, guys, we're in the second half of the show, so want to hit the trade deadline a little bit, Trevor? You want to go a different route? Which way you want to go?
Yeah, we can hit the trade deadline a little bit. I was trying to get a good idea when Tyler Beatty is supposed to return, so that's what I was doing on the side. But yeah, we can hit a little bit of trade deadline if you guys want to. I know we had a little bit of thoughts on Baron Browning. Maybe hit the Jonathan Cooper contract extension.
Yeah, take it over with the Cooper extension. I don't know too much about that. I'll stick with the chat on this one. So you guys take it away with the Cooper, and I'll chime in with the chat.
Okay. I'm trying to pull the exact numbers up for us.
Well, he signed this past week. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
4-year extension. Like I mentioned earlier, it was this weekend. I believe in Baltimore is when they approached him about a contract extension, and then that's a big reason why they were able to and wanting and willing to move off of Baron Browning. But I'm trying to pull the exact numbers up. Maybe you can hit the comments really quick at least so I can pull this up.
Yeah. She's Miss Pearl was just saying about that she was hacked, but Michael saying he wanted outside linebacker Cooper over Browning. So Michael was happy with the Cooper signing over Browning. You ready, or you want me to? Okay, we're caught up on the comments. I was going to do something else if you weren't ready.
Yeah, so I mean, again, we obviously know that Jonathan Cooper yesterday signed a 4-year contract extension. Again, they were pushing him about it over the weekend. That's the big reason why Baron Browning was moved, and they were comfortable doing that. They got the deal done, obviously, officially yesterday. So it's $60 million, 4 years, $60 million. What comes with $33 million in guaranteed money. We obviously wouldn't know what Jonathan Cooper has done this year for the Denver Broncos. I mean, again, he's been such a force, when it comes to this edge rushing room. He's been the leader in the edge rushing room this year. He just does so many dynamic things for this team. He can really be I think he can be your Robin edge rusher this year. We shall see if he completely turns into a Batman edge rusher, but at least you have a really solid Robin edge rusher. And when I say Robin edge rusher, I mean a guy that can get you 8, 9, 10 sacks a year. I mean, he's not going to be elite edge rusher, at least as of right now. We shall see how he, does going towards the end of the season. But Dutchie, I guess I want to get your thoughts on the Jonathan Cooper extension. I haven't got a chance to really talk about it too much yet. Obviously, it's a big deal for him and for the Denver Broncos as they have more money going forward to hound out contract extensions that are obviously, to guys that deserve it and with their play.
Yeah, if they say if that $30 million is also a part of a signing bonus, then it doesn't hit any of the cap hits and that stuff. So that is a big benefit.
Yeah, it's $33 million in guaranteed. So the rest of the money, it's $60 million, $33 million guaranteed is what he gets. That's part of the signing bonus, like you mentioned.
Yeah. So then it doesn't hit the cap. So that's a really big benefit. And yeah, he earned it. He was on the field when Baron Browning was not there. And I think Jonathan Cooper only missed 4 or 5 games in 2 or 3 seasons. So that's, he is there to improve and improve and improve. And by the way, I'm not surprised that by the end of the year that Nick Benito will get a nice contract as well, because how many sacks does he have in a row per game? Is he now 8 games or 7 games that he has a sack?
Yeah, I believe something like that.
Not even Von Miller has that was ever able to do so in during his time with the Broncos, I believe. And by the way, I think also that Bo Nix has a record. He has throwing touchdowns, rushing touchdowns, and receiving touchdowns as a rookie in his first 8 games. I don't think that there's ever been a rookie who has ever done that, from what I know.
Yeah.
So comments. Okay, Trevor. Say what you want to say. Then I want to hit the comments.
Yeah. So Jonathan Cooper, as we remember, in 2021, he was a 7th round draft pick out of Ohio State. Again, had some, believe he had some heart problems that I believe that he had to kind of fight through. So it's actually a really good story, knowing, that he got that big extension. He really worked himself into this extension, getting right off the field with his health, and then obviously getting back on the field and just producing. So just a great story from him, and glad the Broncos got to take care of him. Again, that was a guy that I wanted them to get done, a deal done that I wanted them to get done sooner rather than later, because again, you wait on these guys, the price is only going to go up. So the Broncos taking care of Jonathan Cooper now, I just think shows the confidence that they have and what he can do and in his abilities going forward and what he's done, and reward him for what he's done, but also reward him for what he's going to do going forward.
Couple comments and then a question from Phil. Roy was saying about 4 years, $60 million, like you said, Trevor, $33 million in incentives. Graham, update on the Avalanche, 3-2, an eventful game right now. Phil sending more stars. Thank you, Phil. Appreciate it, as always. The guys all appreciate you. It's a great question, and I love it, guys. So I'm going to answer this one first because I want you guys to handle it more. Guys, based on the way Kansas City has been playing, where do you think our advantage is, if any? You ready for my answer? It's definitely not tight. If I said tight end, I think Trevor and Dutchie the other half of Dutchie's backdrop would fall if I said tight end. I'm going to say running back, but not yet. On Sunday, it needs to be an advantage. You don't have any advantages right now on paper. Sunday, you need to make the running back your advantage. You have Javonte Williams and McLaughlin. They have Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt's not going to break one for 40 yards. Williams or McLaughlin could. Make that your advantage, in my opinion, and you got a good chance of beating the Chiefs on Sunday. I'll go to Dutchie next on this one.
The only advantage is if we get a brand new set of referees. That would be our advantage, because if the same referees are there that are playing right now, I think no matter how much advantages you have, you're going to lose it. Because that is pretty much how it happens with all of the games with the Chiefs right now. So, yep, brand new referees, that would be an advantage for the Broncos. If not, Bo Nix has to be the advantage, because I think he has more surprises in store than we already know of, and I think that is the big thing. Yeah, and of course, our rushers. If they keep pressuring quarterback for at least 50% of the game, you win the game. But if they slack off, what they have been doing against the Ravens, yeah, you're gonna lose it.
It's funny. Ernie is saying, if the referees play, we are toast. Go Broncos. You put the maybe the blue and orange stripes on the referees this week and get a couple calls in Broncos' favor. Let's go. Michael, just a couple updates on the information on the Broncos. Nick Bonito, 6 straight sacks ended against the Ravens, and John Franklin Myers was the only one that had a sack against Lamar Jackson. Trevor, any advantages for the Broncos right now or come Sunday?
I mean, I would say one advantage would be that the Chiefs just got done playing last night, and so it's a short week for them. Patrick Mahomes was helped off the field as well. It ended up being okay, but you know how the next day is. So I wonder how this week's going to go for Patrick Mahomes and see, how he's feeling. But yeah, I mean, that would be one advantage I would say, the Broncos have. But I don't know. I think it's just hunger. I mean, I just think if you're going to be competitive, and this is again a young team. You got to have hunger, and you've got to, take care of, your tough opponents on the road. And this is a division rival. I don't want to hear that you can't, the word can't, in this game, because I think the Chiefs, yes, they've been impressive without a doubt. I think they've squeaked some wins out that haven't been overly impressive, but I think they're definitely beatable. And again, short week for them, you've had a little bit more time to kind of game plan for them and a little bit more rest. I think this Broncos team, there's no reason they can't go in there in the KC and beat them. I think that, the Chiefs, they've added a little bit to that team, of course, especially on the offensive side of the football. I think they tried adding on the defensive side today with Lattimore from the Saints. But I think that you just have to go upon what, didn't transpire on Sunday against Baltimore. You got to have the hunger. You got to want to do it. And it can't just be, you don't want to get blown out again. You want to prove a point, prove that you're a contender. This is one of those prove-it games. If you want to prove that you're a playoff contender, go do it against the Chiefs. Give them the first loss of the year. You just got blown out against the Baltimore Ravens on the road. You don't want to, if you don't want people to second guess you, prove them wrong. And I think that this is a team that's hungry still to win. And I think you have something to prove on Sunday against the Chiefs. And tough opponent, not going to be easy. But I think there's something there with the Sean Payton led team and the culture they have to go into Kansas City and try to get a win and prove the doubters wrong.
I couldn't have said this better. Michael Ronquillo, blitz against Patrick Mahomes with his injury to his ankle. I'm going to make a prediction at the end of the show because I will not be on Friday. I will be at work in the regular the trio. I'm not sure if Dutchie will be there Friday, but Keith will be back and Jody will be joining. So you'll have the trio. They'll be doing their pregame, preview of the Chiefs. So I'll give you a little spoiler at the end. I think you'll be happy with my prediction. So, and Ms. Pearl saying, never count out KC, but any given day. And I love that, Ms. Pearl, because that's the route I'm taking when I make my prediction at the end of the show. Anything else on what we were just talking about with the advantages? Anything else on that? Because Phil's got another question I'll hit in a second if we're finished with this one.
Yeah, we'll hit Phil's question, but first, Phil, your previous question, because I want to make sure we answer Tyler Bidet. He was actually scheduled to come off IR, I believe, last week, but he hasn't yet. I haven't heard any more news upon Tyler Bidet as of this point. What they're going to plan on doing with him, I don't know that he'll play this week for sure. I know I said it, I don't expect him to, but we shall see. I think it's yet to be determined of what they're going to do with him. Haven't heard too much yet because we've been busy with the trade deadline stuff and obviously watching film from the Ravens game. But whenever we get that information, we will for sure give our thoughts and about it and pass that along to everybody else as well.
Yep. And once again, Phil, thank you for the stars. Greatly appreciated, as always. Phil wants to know, do you guys think it was wrong of Vance Joseph getting away from man coverage? And do we go back to it against KC? I'll go to Trevor first on this one.
Yeah, I think it was a mistake, and I actually said here on Friday night, this past Friday night, before Denver went to Baltimore to take on the Ravens, I think that they should have blitzed. I think you stick to what's been working all year. I know you're facing Lamar Jackson. It's not going to be easy to contain him because he's a very mobile quarterback. He's one of the hardest quarterbacks to bring down in the league. Just sack wise, and so. But I don't think you go away from what your defense has done all year long. This defense has played at a top 5 level all year long in many different categories. And I just think that you got away from that, going zone coverage, soft coverage against, Lamar Jackson. He made you pay for it. I think that you have to, against Mahomes, especially knowing that he might be hurt a little bit. We shall see what ends up happening. But him playing on a shortened week and whatnot, I think you got to go after him. And that's what you did last year to beat the Chiefs in the first place. When the Chiefs went to the Broncos and they snapped that losing streak against the Chiefs, you got after Patrick Mahomes, and Mahomes did not want to be out there. So I think you've got to get after Mahomes. You got to blitz him and make him feel uncomfortable in the pocket. You don't want Patrick Mahomes getting comfortable. As soon as that happens, it's not going to be a very good day for you defensively. So yeah, I think that it was a mistake for VJ. To go against what this defense has done well, which is get after the quarterback and pressure the quarterback in Baltimore.
Yeah, I'll get my 2 cents in and then I'll pass it to Dutchie. You got a lockdown corner in PS2. Hopkins is going to eat up zone. Do you stop Hopkins? Let Kelsey or somebody else beat you. Yeah, it's Travis Kelsey, but Travis Kelsey's getting older, ladies and gentlemen. Travis Kelsey had a great game against the Buccaneers. You stop D. Hopkins, let somebody else beat you, even if it's Travis Kelsey. Don't let DeAndre Hopkins beat you in zone coverage because he'll eat it up. Got to go, man. Put PS2 on Hopkins. Wherever he goes, he's the shadow, and go from there. And get the pressure on Mahomes with his bad ankle. And there's Paul coming in on YouTube. What's up, Paul? Thank you for joining. Mahomes is hurt. And he said everything went against the Broncos. And Miss Pearl hates the zone. It was bad. So, Dutchie, I'll let you have the final word on Phil's question about the man coverage versus zone.
We have seen 3 games now that we lost pretty heavily. And what did we not do as a defense? Pressuring the quarterback. And all the other games that we won and we had low scores, what happened? We were pressuring the quarterback. And that needs to be the agenda of the Broncos. Yeah, do you want to mix it up? Otherwise, offenses can prepare for it. But keep up the pressure, and you cannot prepare it. Maybe in the beginning you can keep up a little bit, but the longer the game goes on, the more tired the quarterback will be and the more scared he will be because he will start seeing ghosts. And that is what you have to do. You have to keep pressuring the quarterback. And that is how we got some of those big wins. Aaron Rodgers, how many touchdowns did he score? And why? He did not score one because he got pressured all the time. They were in his face, and he was limping off the field. We can do that and make it happen with Patrick Mahomes as well. Patrick Mahomes is not that great this year. Most of the games there with the scores are within one scoring game. That's how they won. We have to win this game and let them lose the game and not win it because of a referee thing.
Oh, yeah. There's Michael saying this was a wake-up call for the Broncos offense and defense. And Paul, don't do a walk of shame. You're 5-4. I say this every year. I've coached at Pee Wee level up to high school level, and did some scouting for college for a year. Every team has a down game. Broncos didn't have it up until week 9. They faced a team that needed the game more than them. Broncos may have been looking ahead to the Chiefs. They got the big one coming up next week. A lot of factors. Early time zone, early wake up morning coffee for Trevor and Keith and Jody. Not Dutchie. He's out there only an hour difference, but everybody else, morning game. It's rough for everybody. So don't do the walk of shame. You could be a Giants fan at 2-7 and do a walk of shame. Every team has a bad game. The undefeated New England Patriots had their bad game in the Super Bowl, and the Giants spoiled their party. It's going to happen. The Chiefs are going to have their bad game, and let's hope it's Sunday. It's coming. Every team has it. So just don't make them, contagious. Have your one, and then that's it. That's your one clunker of the year, and move on from it. Ernie's saying the Chiefs depend on the referees every game.
But let's not forget, the Ravens' offense was very stout. They were very, very good, and normally they were weak against the pass, but this time they were not weak against the pass too. So they had a game plan, and it was a good one. I don't think the Broncos' offense was that bad. The Ravens' defense was better.
Thanks, Keith, for correcting me. The 72 Dolphins didn't have a bad game. So one team in the history of football didn't have a bad game.
Well, I will go on. Sorry, Kenny, go ahead.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
No, so what I was going to say was, Dutch, I disagree a little bit. I think the Broncos offense, I don't think they did the defense any favors whatsoever. 3 turnovers for this Broncos offense. You again, Sean Payton, I understand him being aggressive, but I think at some point, you have to execute those plays better, because again, you turn the ball over, you don't get no points on that. Now you're facing one of the best, if not the best best offense in football, most explosive offenses in football, with Baltimore Ravens. So I think both sides of the ball, I would say all 3 phases of the field, the Broncos just didn't play well at all. And I think that going forward against the Chiefs, you have to play better on all 3 sides of the ball, of course, but you cannot turn over the football. And they did it 3 times against the Ravens, and it costed them. Then you started seeing the game slip away as they were turning the football over, whether it was turning the football on downs or the interception. Again, interception, Bo Nix, it was non-Bo Nix. It was little Jordan Humphrey. Still don't know why he's out there still getting those reps, but I think that they just got to play cleaner football against tougher opponents. They've got away with it the past couple of weeks with going against the Saints and the Carolina Panthers. Now you have tougher opponents coming up, have to take care of the football offensively and help your defense out. They just didn't do a good enough job there on Sunday. Now it's time to rebound against the Kansas City Chiefs and Kansas City on Sunday, and I think they'll get that chance to do so.
Well said. Well said. Let me get a couple comments in here, and then one last short one with you guys, because I'm looking at the time. We got about 5 minutes left. Chad coming in. Rock on, dudes. What's up, Chad? Thanks for hanging out with us. Coming in at the as the clock is expiring, a buzzer beater. What's up, Chad? Hope all is well. Paul saying, Coach kept trying to do the fullback sneak on 4th down like it's 1999. And Paul, I'm with you. I hate the fullbacks getting the carry, especially when at the goal line. You got everybody lined up and you need one extra blocker. Why would you hand it to the fullback? I don't get it. I don't like it. I hope they do away with it. Fullbacks are supposed to be blockers. You want to throw a little fullback flat pass to them every once in a while. I'm all about that, but not the fullback sneak. Broncos have to stop all the penalties from Miss Pearl. Paul, if Mahomes goes near the sidelines, you have to hit him. Paul's also saying Mahomes does a fake out of bounds. And then Keith wants to know, did the Ravens give the NFL the game plan to beat the Broncos defense? Albert shaking no. You agree, Trevor?
No, I don't think so, because not every offense is explosive as the Ravens offense. So even if you wanted that to be the game plan, or if any team thought that was a game plan, well, not every team had as talented offense as you just faced with the Baltimore Ravens and with Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. Not every team, most teams don't have that explosive an offense and not great of an offense. So I don't think so. I think that, again, it's just the big talent difference between both teams, I think, was there. I think that, I think they did a great job, with, the Ravens did, I think, just, with executing their game plan and making the Broncos just, again, turn the ball over offensively, but take advantage of them defensively, playing that soft zone and not getting after the quarterback like they have in weeks past.
Let's do this. I'm looking at the time. Alberto's saying hello on Facebook. What's up, Alberto? Right. Michael giving us an election day update. Donald Trump 205, Kamala 117. Happy election evening, everyone, once again. Paul saying no, we come out with different schemes based upon the team we are playing. And Paul saying King Henry should have been a Bronco. Let's do this. I'm going to hold my question for you guys for Friday. So Keith, be prepared for my question to put you on the spot on Friday. We got about 3 minutes. My closing thought, I'm going to give you guys, I want to thank you guys once again, Albert, Trevor, Keith, always a pleasure filling in for you. I hope I can do half the job you do. Always enjoy hanging out with the posse, and you guys are amazing. Thank you all for being here on the most important evening in the United States, and it's election night. So thank you all for being active with us, and appreciate all the comments and questions you all gave us. And Phil saying great show, Pearl saying great show. I'm going to give you a prediction since I won't be on Friday. I know you guys will touch it up. Well, you guys will cover it on Friday. Broncos are going to hand the Chiefs their first loss. This Mahomes injury is a little more serious than people think. Trevor said it earlier. You wake up the next day, you're hurting. This is a short week for the Chiefs. This is going to be the Chiefs clunker. You saw the Broncos clunker on Sunday. You're going to see the Chiefs clunker on this Sunday. Broncos 24, Chiefs 17. You're going to win 24. I'm even going to go maybe even 24-14. It's going to be a complete turnaround. Best game from the Broncos, worst game from the Chiefs. Mahomes is going to be hurting in this game. This injury is a little more serious than people think, and the Chiefs fans are going to be holding their breaths once again this week when he's limping. 24-14 Broncos. Go blue and orange. Go Broncos country, as Ernie Mays always says. Trevor, Dutchie, your final thoughts. We'll give Trevor the final word tonight.
So yeah, I will also give my prediction because I'm not there on Friday. I'm working on Friday as well. So my prediction is if the defense is pressuring Patrick Mahomes, the Broncos are going to win it 27-10. If they are not doing it, it's going to be a close game. It will be 27-24 for the Broncos. I have the Broncos for a win. Posse, being here on election night, that was excellent. And we had really good conversation because of you as well, guys. Thank you for being there again. I want to thank Ernie, Roy, Michael, Jeremy, Graham, Pearl, my lovely wife, Michelle, Keith, Phil, Patrick, Paul, Chad, and Alberto Fajejo. It's pretty new for me, so thank you for being there, Alberto. And guys, keep it up because we really love you being here in the chat. It makes our life so much easier. And Patrick, thank you for the tea.
Yep, and Roy's saying he's going to give prediction on Friday. I like that. Everybody tune in Friday, 9:30, 7:30 Mountain Time. I'm on Eastern Time, so I'm doing the 9:30 Eastern Time for everybody. But 7:30 Mountain Time, prediction Friday for sure. Trevor, your final words of the night.
Yeah, first of all, Kenny, just big thank you for hosting tonight. Again, big help for me and Dutchie with Keith being out tonight. Keith, hopefully you're having a great time, away from Broncos country, at least for now. I know Keith chimed in earlier, but just being with his wife and being on vacation, Keith, hoping you're having a great time. We definitely miss you. Kenny, just thank you. You did a great job as always, and I know everybody appreciates you. Anytime we can have you on, we all appreciate having you on. So just a big thank you to you. It's an honor for us to have you on as well. But no, again, big thank you to everybody for tuning in tonight. I know it was a little bit later of a start for us, but we are bound and determined to give you guys a show when we're supposed to. So no matter what time if you're catching us live after the fact, thank you. Morgan Trinkets, I want to thank you for being our wonderful sponsor once again, Ms. Pearl. Thank you. And make sure to stay tuned in to us on Friday. We'll have our pregame. Keith will be back. Jody will likely be with us as well, and we'll dive deeper into the Chiefs game a little bit more as we get closer to the game. But a big thank you to everybody for joining us tonight. Kenny, big thank you, and Dutchie, big thank you. Again, we couldn't be here without our amazing fans out there. Continue to like, share, subscribe. Really appreciate it, and hope everybody has a great, safe week. And we'll see everybody on Friday.
Absolutely. And again, thank you guys. Thank you, Keith. He's saying thank you to the Horseman and the Stepfather. Besides, enjoying doing the show with you guys, I wouldn't do it all the time with you guys if it wasn't for the wonderful audience that I'm a part of most of the time. And it's just a pleasure to be on with you guys and hang out with the audience as well. But amazing group here at Denver Bronco Roundup. Look forward to speaking to you and hanging out with you guys each and every week. And, I'll do my best. I got to remember Keith saying, I just know the first guns in the holster, but I'm not going to do anything else. So we're just going to do the old Mile High salute, everybody. And we're going to sign off and see you Friday. Have a good night.